now that Coach Prime is in Colorado, and I think he's been there close to about a month now, I want to go ahead and start deep diving into what Colorado fans maybe should be expecting from Coach Prime and for the University of Colorado going forward. I think there's some big expectations here that he will end up turning this program around, and I kind of want to talk about it and get your guys' feedback. I want you guys to kind of help me with this. If I'm crazy, if I'm putting too high of expectations up there for him, let me know. Jump down the comments below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. But other than that, just go ahead and make sure you hit that like button. Hit that subscribe, because you know what? It helps me out and helps me bring you guys more great Coach Prime content, more Colorado content. Trying to land some more interviews for you guys. And quite frankly, the more subscribers I have, the bigger I am, the easier it is for me to bring you that content. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. So Coach Prime has came to Colorado, and there's no shock that the hype around Colorado in this program is tremendously high right now. But I think it's time for us to dial back and look at these expectations and some of the hype that we put around this program and think what is realistic. Especially today with the the 2024 five-star outside linebacker TJ Capers committing to Louisville, which I know a lot of people thought he would have maybe committed to Colorado. I kind of want to talk about maybe just that on the recruiting trail too, and what we should expect there. So the first thing is, let's start with season one. You know, when I go back and I look at what he did at Jackson State, in the first year there, he went 11-2, lost in the Celebration Bowl to South Carolina State, and then in 2022, completely turned it around with an undefeated regular season, pretty much being able to handily take care of all of their opponents. But then again, losing in the Celebration Bowl again. So almost, I would say, not being able to get it done in that final game or the big game, whatever you want to call it. However, I don't think that's going to be an indictment, all right, on what he's going to be able to do in his career, especially at Colorado. Just because it's a different game, he'll have a different level of talent. But ultimately, when you look at what he did at Jackson State, it's incredible, right? It's incredible what he was able to do, especially with all of the hype that he brought to that program, being able to land Travis Hunter. It was incredible. And in the first year at Colorado, Colorado's got a very interesting schedule. And if you haven't looked at their schedule, you'll know that you start the season off with potentially a national champion. TCU is in the national championship with Georgia, so you're at least going to have the runner-up in that game. But you could be potentially playing the national champion. And that's going to be at TCU in Fort Worth, Texas. So, you know, it could be a big game for TCU. It could be a night game. I mean, let's be honest. It probably will, even if TCU loses this game. And then you have to come back and you have to play Nebraska at home, which, quite honestly, I really like that game. I think it's not on the level of Red River with Oklahoma and Texas, but it kind of has that feel, right? Where it's, you know, two neighboring states going up against each other, lot on the line. And then you guys play Colorado State. It's an exciting game, exciting rivalry game. And then you guys have Arizona State. You guys are going to Arizona State. You have Arizona, Oregon State, Stanford, USC, Oregon, UCLA, Utah, and Washington State. So you guys have a pretty 4-game stretch that's pretty brutal. Honestly, depending on how you guys finish, not necessarily 100% certain you guys are going to win a lot of those games. I think you guys would have a good shot in the UCLA game just because UCLA is going to have a new quarterback in there, things like that. Oregon, USC, I just don't think Colorado wins those games. Same thing for Utah. I think Utah's just an overall pretty good sound team. You know, I see realistically first season, Coach Prime getting 6 games. I see him at least getting bowl eligible. However, though, don't be shocked if it's a 4 or 5 win season. I mean, and I know some of you guys might kill me for that, but Kenny Dillingham, he's going to put together a really good squad at Arizona State. So, I mean, yeah, like you could have a 3-game stretch where you win 3 games there, and you probably beat Stanford, and you might beat Washington State. So that's 5 games. That's 5. But let's just say you drop one of the games you're not supposed to, and you're at 4. So I think between 4 to 6 wins is probably the expectations for Colorado fans going into 2023. Now, the question is 2024. because at that point he's going to have his whole recruiting cycle in there, his first whole recruiting cycle. And you would expect that, again, he's going to take more talent in the transfer portal. And players will have actually at this point been able to see, okay, Charles Kelly, Tim Brewster, all of these guys, how are they going to be able to develop guys at the Power 5 level? And I really like the hire of Charles Kelly because he's a good recruiter. He develops really well. There's a reason why Nick Saban wanted this guy. And then Tim Brewster as well. I mean, do we need to say anything about the resume that he has? So in 2024, right now, you guys are slated to play North Dakota State, at Nebraska, in Lincoln, which will not be a tough game, and then at Colorado State. You could probably go 2-1 there. And now, depending on what your Pac-12 schedule looks like, you could be looking at maybe 8 wins that season, right? So I would say 6 to 8 wins. You want to improve by at least 2 games on your minimum each season. So 6 to 8 games in 2024, and then you go look at 2025. And I think it's pretty well wide open, right? You got Georgia Tech, at Houston, Wyoming. Houston's going to be a Power 5 program, so their program should be a little bit better. But those are 3 games by 2025. I think Coach Prime could realistically go out there and win. Like, I think you would agree with me too. Those are 3 games that you guys realistically could go out there and win. And, that season, you could be looking at a 10-win season, right? So in 3 years, he could be at 10 wins. Now, we saw what Lincoln Riley did at USC, and I'm not going to buy in and say that model of what Lincoln Riley did is going to work everywhere. I just don't think it will, because Lincoln Riley had probably a generational quarterback follow him, along with wide receiver that he had really good chemistry with. He brought some cornerbacks, things like that. So I don't know if that model is going to translate from Jackson State to Colorado, but I mean, if it does, Colorado fans could be looking at a pretty good season. Ultimately, I don't even think Colorado scratches the surface to national championship contention until year 5. And I think that that's reasonable. But the thing is, you have to be able to give Coach Prime time to be able to show recruits and show players across the college football landscape that him and his staff are able to go out there and develop players at a high level and put them in the NFL. And that's a 2 to 3 year process. That's a 2 to 3 year process, because you want to be able to show that you can do that with your own guys, not necessarily guys that came from Alabama or came from Michigan or places like that maybe had some development for somebody else. Like, you want to be able to say, no, like, I fully developed this guy. I'm the one that scouted his talent out. So if I'm scouting you and I'm going to develop you, I can put you in the NFL. That's just my thoughts. Now, again, you guys might not agree with me, but that's just kind of where I'm thinking here. And so, kind of shifting to the recruiting portion of this, his first year on the recruiting trail, not a bad class. I mean, we've seen him be able to flip Dylan Edwards from Notre Dame. He's been able to get Omarion Miller, Adam Hopkins, Morgan Pearson. These are all guys that I think were being recruited by several other schools, guys that I think would make an impact. We've seen Coach Prime be able to go dip into the transfer portal once again and just make a huge impact and a huge splash. Right now, you guys are ranked number 2. So I think overall, between transfer and recruiting rankings, you guys are ranked number 23 in the country, which that's very interesting to say the least. And so in 2024, you really have to ask yourself, what is Coach Prime going to be able to do on the recruiting trail? Well, you guys already have 3 guys. You guys have 1 guy that's like right outside the top 100 in Omar White on the defensive line, which I love it. 2 of your guys that are committed in 2024 are on the defensive line. So I love to see that that's where you guys are putting in your emphasis to go out there and recruit. So right now you're ranked number 17 for 2024. And the question is, who could you guys potentially go out there and land? We have seen that there's been some maybe hype with Ellis Robinson, KJ Bolden. Obviously, as of right now, TJ Capers hasn't worked out. It's 2024 and it's early, so things could change. You guys could still flip the kid. And you guys, I think, probably land T.A. Cunningham, a top 75 player, the top defensive lineman in this class that I think a lot of schools are going to end up wanting from Los Alamos High School. So, yeah, I mean, as far as on the recruiting trail, in 2024, I would expect Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, to land probably a top 12 class. Realistically, I think that's where you guys could land. I think you guys could be in the top 3 in the Pac-12. And then, in 2025, I think that's really the recruiting class where you see Coach Prime break the top 10 and maybe start sniffing top 5. Because, again, you're going to start to see the development on the field. Travis Hunter at that point will be draft eligible, so we'll kind of get to see where maybe he will land in the league. And players will be able to kind of see that as well. So, ultimately, Colorado's in a great spot. When you look at it, Colorado is in a great spot with Coach Prime and Tim Brewster, Charles Kelly, and Sean Lewis, and all of these guys. You guys are in a great spot. The question is development. For a school like Colorado, yes, you guys have NIL money out there. People are going to try to tell me they don't. No, Colorado does. It's just you guys need to be able to get a collective. You guys need to be able to get it all together, get it organized, and kind of see where it goes from there. But it's Colorado. It's not like a hit destination for these kids. Guys like me, I'm 25 years old. I would love to go live in the mountains. An 18-year-old ain't thinking about that, right? They want to go to, some of the bigger places. And then obviously, I get it, Tuscaloosa ain't the most flashy destination, but it's Nick Saban for right now, right? So, you've got to give credit to where credit's due. Kids are going to want to go out to USC, right? Los Angeles. They're going to want to go to some of the Florida schools where the beaches are. They'll want to go to Texas, the big cities, Georgia. Atlanta's not too far from Athens. So, yeah, that's what I think, right? When it comes down to it, you're going to have to be able to entice these kids to want to come here. You're going to have to start winning your games. You're going to have to keep your development at a high level, put these kids high in the NFL draft, and eventually the recruits will start coming. Ultimately, in 2024, I think you guys lose out on a lot of recruits. I don't think you should give your hopes up on some of them. If they land, great. If they don't, well, you know what? You weren't even supposed to land those kids anyways. So, go out there and get the guys you should get. Go out there, land your state in Colorado. Try to win states around you like Arizona, like Wyoming, like Nebraska and Kansas and Colorado, Colorado, Nevada, California, all those places. Try to dip into all those states, win that area, keep your recruiting pipeline in Texas, try to get some places in Florida, and see what you can muster up and put together, and then go from there. That's what I think the expectation should be for Colorado. So go ahead, jump down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. I know this wasn't the most flashy video, but it's something that I was kind of thinking about. And I think it's something that I think we should kind of talk out. So jump in the comments below. I will be interacting with you guys. Let me know what you think.